What's up guys, it's Josh back with another video and welcome to the KeepItTechie channel. And today I want to do something a little bit different. I typically don't talk about Microsoft products on this channel. I try to strictly focus on the Linux operating system, Linux desktop, Linux servers, all that good stuff. But ever since I started seeing cloud technology used a lot more, especially in the positions that I work in, I figured I would go on and start incorporating that into the content that I produce on my channel. And so today I wanted to dive into Microsoft Azure and show you guys how to set up a Linux virtual machine within their platform. And this will be a super simple video. It's perfect for beginners and those that are looking to expand their cloud skills, because also that's one of the things that I cover on my channel is expanding your knowledge, especially if you're working in the IT field. And one of the best ways is to practice your skills by using a home lab or a cloud lab, so to speak. And so this should be easy enough for you guys to follow, and then you can build upon these concepts that I put out there. So let's go on and get started, and I can walk you guys through this. All right, so I'm at portal.azure.com, and the first thing you want to do is log into your Azure portal, which I'm already logged into it. If you don't have an account, sign up. It's quick and easy. It's not that difficult to do. And then just like all these other platforms like AWS, I believe they still do it, but they'll give you some credits in the beginning when you first set up your account. That will allow you to just play around with the platform so you can get familiar with it. And this will allow you to set up virtual machines, set up apps, but not just any app. You don't want to go in there and set up something too big, because you get pop up with a bill for $2,000 because you set up an app or something and you ran it for like a month or so and they send you a bill for $2,000. You want to be very careful with it. And it's the same with AWS and a lot of these other cloud platforms. You want to verify and make sure you don't leave services running on the system. But I just want to quickly show you guys how to set up a virtual machine, and it'll just be running Linux. Before we move forward, I wanted to give a quick shout out to CIQ, the official partner of Rocky Linux. Rocky Linux is a Linux distribution that is intended to be a downstream complete binary compatible release using the Red Hat Enterprise Linux operating system source code. The project is led by Gregory Kurtzer, who was the founder of the CentOS project. So check out Rocky Linux at ciq.co. But as you can see on the top of the screen, here are your quick links or resources or services, so they call it. And you can go through and check it out, but this is the quickest way to get to your virtual machine. It should show up here. You should see it. All we have to do is click on virtual machine. So we can click there, and this will allow you to create a virtual machine. So let's click there, and this will take us through the wizard of actually creating the virtual machine. There's a couple things you want to go through here. Your subscription, for one, you want to go in here and select that. We're going to use that Azure subscription one. That's the only option we have. And then you want to select your resource group. And if you don't have a resource group, you need to go down and create one. And this is all based on what you're actually using this virtual machine for. So you can name it. They have naming conventions that they throw out there in order to teach you how to use it, where you break it out by the region, the application that you're actually using, or the distribution that you're using. And so they'll just give you examples on how to do it, but you can do it however you want to in your environment. So I think what they said was RG tech, and then you could put whatever you want after that. So I'm gonna just do Red Hat, and then tech 01, put a numbering feature. So if you have multiple Red Hat servers, and that probably won't bring up anything, and I was just writing it out, but because we don't have any created, but all you have to do is go to hit create new. You can name it, and I'll paste that in there, press OK, and that'll allow us to create our resource group. So Red Hat 01, and then we can name the virtual machine. Now I'm gonna name it the exact same thing. So RG Red Hat -01, and then you want to select your region. So, and that's what I meant by the naming convention. So you can have virtual machines, pretty much throughout their infrastructure, throughout the Azure, full-blown infrastructure. Like for one, it brings up Japan East. I'm not gonna obviously set up a virtual machine over there, but let's say you have a global business that you run and you want to set up servers in general locations or general regions close to where your business is operating. Then you could do that. That way people have access to the servers at a good rate, and it can replicate across, you know, the Azure platform, so to keep everything synced. But anyway, we're not dealing with that. I'm gonna just use the US West, and that's cool. That's all we need. And the availability options, we're gonna select no for that, so no infrastructure redundancy. You can select that if you need it, like availability zones, virtual machine scale set, availability set. I'm not gonna use any of that. And then also security type, you can go in here and select your security type. I'm just do the standard. That's what I recommend you guys do as well, but they do have trusted launch, and it's only certain things that you can do under the free account, you know, and that's what I signed up for. I currently have that $200 subscription credit that they give us in the beginning when you create the account. And the reason I have this is because I've been on Azure for a while, but I use a different accounts, and I want to create a different account for my channel purposes, just to separate things. So I just signed up for it today, and so this is a brand new account, and it has those $200 credit. And so let's go down and close that. And then, like I said, the standard is good for the security type. Now here is where you set up your images, or you select your image that you want to use for your virtual machine. So as you can see, it automatically pulled up Ubuntu server, but if we click down here, it'll show you a whole bunch of different options as far as images that you could select. So you got Ubuntu 20, Ubuntu 22, SUSE Linux, and this is 15, I believe, Service Pack 4 plus patching. Let's see, Red Hat Enterprise Linux 8.7, Oracle, and these are the most popular, you know, options that they put in here. So they even got Windows Server Data Center. Obviously they're going to have that because this is Microsoft's platform, so they want to promote their operating system as well, you know what I'm saying? So you can set up a, you know, 2022 data center, you know, Azure edition. You could do 2019 data center. You can even set up Windows 10, Windows 11, you know, Pro. You can set those up as well. And like I said, these are just the most popular ones they put in front of you, but you can click see all images, and it'll take you to all the images, and you can search through here and find what you want, you know, and select it from here. So I'm gonna hit X there because I'm not gonna select under there, but you can also click right here. That'll do the exact same thing. I just wanted to show you guys, but it'll bring up everything. And what I'm gonna do is use Red Hat Enterprise Linux. We're gonna roll with that, and this is 8.7. It's a LVM, set up an LVM and x86 architecture Gen 2. The VM architecture is gonna be x86. ARM 64 is not supported with this selected image, so cool. Run with Azure Spot discount. I don't know what that means, never used that before. It says Azure Spot offers unused Azure capacity at a discounted rate. I'm not gonna select that. Now the next thing you want to do is go down here and select your size, meaning the server setup for you. So as you can see, this is one virtual CPU, 1 gigabit of memory for $7.59. So you definitely want to check out the pricings in here, and you can go through. It gives you the options. You only have a certain amount of options in here. You can look at all the sizes if you want to and check them out, but prices, you know, go up and up and up, you know, and it's all dependent on what you need for the setup. I'm gonna just roll with this one virtual CPU, 1 gigabit of memory. That's good because this is running in their platform, so it's good to go. As you can see, the username is Azure user, but you can go in and change this if you want to. I'm gonna just leave it the defaults. You got your SSH public keys. It will generate a new key pair for you, key pair name, and that's what it'll name it. So you can adjust this if you want to, but it uses the server name that we created for the key, so it'll generate that key pair and allow you to download it, and I'll show you guys that in a little bit. But your inbound port rules, so this is the firewall. You can allow certain ports, and one of the default ports that they are gonna open up for you is SSH, which is port 22. And then you can also select other ports, and one thing I'll be doing is creating a web server so you guys can at least see something being done with the system. And so the next thing all we have to do is go down here to the bottom where it says next, and that'll take you to your disk setup. And the OS disk size, it makes it 64. You can encrypt the host. It's probably not, it's not available for the selected subscription, which is fine, but I believe 64 is the default. I wish they had like 32 or something, but that's fine, that'll work. You can select the type of disk, so you can do premium, standard, standard. Let's see, standard SSD, standard hard drive. So if you're doing like backups, you only want this virtual machine for like backups or cloud backups, you can select the standard hard drive, and that's basically a spindle drive. And the other ones is SSDs for, you know, obviously a little bit more speed. And I'll just do standard. And then one other thing I just kind of want to show you guys, you can add more disks to it. So you can create and attach a new disk. You can attach existing disks. So if you have a shared drive up here in Azure Cloud where you store a lot of your data, then you can attach that to this virtual machine. Now the next thing just kind of want to show you guys is networking, and I'll just show you guys the basics. What it goes through, it allows you to make changes to the network. You can set the subnet mask, virtual network name, and we're going to use that same, you know, network, or it's going to use that server name for it, and it's going to create a new one. It's going to allow those ports, and then you have your NIC network security group. So you can put it on none, basic, advanced. And let's see, down here at the bottom, they also have load balancing. So you can set up Azure load balancing if you need it, depending on, I guess, how accessible you want this website to be. If you're not getting much traffic, don't worry about the load balancing, but you do have those options. And I'm not trying to sell it to you. I just want to show you guys, you know, a few of the things. I won't go through everything, but under management, you could check some of this stuff out, like backups, you know, guest ISOs. If you have an image, you can do monitoring, set up monitoring. You got some advanced settings under here, extension, VM applications. You can select virtual machine applications to install. You also have tags. This will allow you to, like if you have multiple, you know, virtual machines out there, these tags are very important to help you consolidate everything or keep everything in a standardized layout so you can manage all the virtual machines that you have out there. And then the last step is review and create, and this will show us all our options. And it looks like we have an error, and that's one thing it'll do. It'll check to make sure we have an error. So the virtual machine requires a subscription without any spending limits. So I probably can't select a Red Hat. I wonder if that is what's causing the issue. So let's roll with the free services using Ubuntu 22.04. Let's see if that works for us. And also let's change our virtual, you know, server net machine name. So I'm gonna just change it to Ubuntu 01, and we can leave the resource group there. That's fine. And then everything else, I'm gonna just leave the same. Let's go to review and create and see if it actually allows us to create it. Yeah, and that's what the problem was. It was because I was trying to use Red Hat. And basically what it's gonna do is review, and it'll show you the pricing. This is how much it'll cost. It'll basically show you all your settings that you set. You also have a warning here. It says you have set SSH port open to the internet. This is only recommended for testing. If you want to change the setting, go back to the basic tab, which is understandable. They put that there, but as long as you have everything set up on SSH, you should be good to go. So let's go down and hit create. It'll go through create our virtual machine, and you can download your private key and make sure you store this in a good location, especially if you're planning on keeping this virtual machine. So it's going to download our private key. As you can see, it's right there, and it is stored on our system, and you want to use that to log into your server. And so this is the deployment process, just showing you guys. I just want to show you guys all of it, but it'll go through the process of installing the actual virtual machine and give you the results from there based on everything. And once this completes, I'll be back. All right, so our VM is created. Super cool, right? It'll let you know. It says your deployment is complete, and you can look at the deployment details. I recommend you check it out. You can see exactly what happens. Basically goes to create the virtual machine, the network infrastructure, public IP, virtual network, network security, pretty much everything for that virtual machine that we created. And it's using that resource group that we set up, which was, it says Red Hat, but really doesn't matter. And then also down here at the bottom, you have your next steps. So this is something you might want to look into. So set up auto shutdown. This is recommended. Monitor virtual machine health, performance, and network dependencies. You can check that out. Run scripts. I'm not going to go through all of that because this will turn into a full comprehensive course, and I just kind of want to show you guys how to set up that virtual machine. All right, and so one thing we could do is go back to home, and this will show us our virtual machines. It'll show it under our recents, and then we can set things as favorite, and all that stuff. And we can actually click on our virtual machine, and this will open it up, and it'll basically give you all the information about the system. So you can see it. It's the status is running. It's the location is the West, Linux, Ubuntu 22.04, the size, IP addresses, all that stuff. So, and that's one thing you need is the IP address. But let me show you guys how to connect to it. So if we click here, we can hit connect, and this will show us how to connect to Azure from the command line. So if we click, and this gives you a lot of information once you get here. So you got your public IP address. They do have a SSH using the Azure command line interface. You can use that, but I always like to use the native SSH from my personal system. So you can select this, and it'll bring up all the information on how to connect to it. Basically shows you that the ports are open, and then also you can open up your local shell. It basically gives you the information on how to connect to it. It's even from like Windows. But what I'm gonna do is just copy the command, and I need to go down and move it because right now it's in my downloads directory, but we'll just get it straight. All right, so I'm on my local system, and one of the things we need to do is move our private key right fast. So let's go down and find it right fast. But what we want to do is type move, and then we want to find our private key, which is under our downloads directory, and then I believe it's org tech. And let's tab that out, and there we go. That's our permanent key right there. And what we want to do is move that into our .ssh directory, and then just press enter. That'll move that file over to our SSH directory, and I'll just ls that directory right fast so we can make sure it's there. So SSH, and then let's org, and I didn't mean to do that. I just didn't want to show you guys everything that's in there, because I do have some public keys, private keys in here as well for other hosts that I have out there. But as you can see, our private key is located there now. And one of the things you want to do is change the ownership. So you could type chmod, and we want to specify our permissions that we want to set. And the default from Azure is 400. And then let's go into our SSH directory, and then that org file, and we want to specify and make it read only. So let's go down and press enter. That changes the permission on that file, and then we can ls this using .la and press enter, and it'll give us the permissions of it right there. So as you can see, it only has read only, and Josh has access to it. So let's go down and clear right fast, and what we want to do is paste our SSH command that we copied from the portal into our terminal, and then we have to specify the name of it. You know, obviously that's not the name of it. It's not ID or SA. It's actually that org, and then tech, and tab it out. There we go. So that's that key, and let's go down and press enter, and what it will do is automatically log into the system. As long as you have those permissions set on the file and it's moved in the proper location, then you're good to go. And we are logged into our virtual machine, and you can do certain things in here. Like this is Ubuntu, so I'm gonna just run htop should come on there pre-installed, and this will show you the services of your virtual machine. And then you can also install things, which I'll just go down and install something right fast. So sudo apps updates, and typically these virtual machines, when they use the most recent image and it has updates in it. So but let's just run it anyway. So sudo apps upgrade, and then tac y, and press enter. It'll go through, check to see if it needs any updates on the system. It may have some updates. A lot of times they use like I said, a more recent image, and it'll have those updates on there, or they'll pull it from like another image on the Azure network that has updates on it when they create these virtual machines. But as you can see, it's not that many updates. I'm gonna run through it right fast, and then anytime you run into stuff in the cloud, you'll notice that it's like super fast, man, the way they have this stuff set up. I'm gonna tab this out, press OK. It'll restart services for certain things. So that's like Chrony and a couple services. So SSH, it'll restore all those services with the updates. Now, I don't know if you guys remember, but I opened up port 80. I wanted to show you guys that you can quickly set up a web server, you know, using Azure Cloud. So all you gotta do is type sudo, let's see, apps, and then install, and let's just do Nginx, and that's Nginx server. Let's go down and install that right fast. That'll install everything we need for Nginx, and then it'll actually start the server, and this will be super quick. I may have to start the services after this. I'm not 100% sure. It should, sometimes it starts it, I'm not 100% sure, but we'll see once we get there. So let's go sudo systemctl status, and then Nginx, and let's check out the service, and it is active and running. So let's go on and quit that, and then let's get our IP address. Oh, well, we can actually get it. That's our internal IP address. I forgot. So let's go on and get it from our cloud platform. So go back over here to the website and we can copy our IP address and then go over here. Let's open up another tab, paste and go, and we should see our Nginx install. Yeah, there we go. So welcome to Nginx. If you see this page, the Nginx web server is successfully installed and working. So you can quickly set up a web server, you know, right here in Azure Cloud. And it's just like any other these other platforms. You just open up the right ports, you know, install the operating system that you want, and then install the application or service that you need, and you're good to go. And that's it. You've successfully created and accessed your Linux virtual machine in Azure. So make sure you guys experiment, explore, and make the most of your new virtual machine, and don't run it too much or put too much stuff on it because your bill may go up. I'm not 100% sure, but you want to make sure you look into it and just verify that you're not going to spend too much money setting up these virtual machines. But this is a great way to set up that cloud lab or home lab, if you want to call it that. That will allow you to set up, you know, virtual machines, and you can learn how to work with a lot of services that are out there right there in the cloud for maybe a couple bucks a month. Now, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more Linux content. And I hope you guys have a productive day, and of course, keep it techie.